Well, then, what why are platforms or the assemblies of paths so easily reproduced? How come we have spawned from 1, 2, 3 assemblies to over 220? Because we have realized that if we give ourselves a very simple rules to function, we can all be sister assemblies and support each other from one town to the other, from one neighborhood to the other. And we can, very much like what I'm doing, I've done this before in Valencia, in neighboring towns. I have got together with neighbors from smaller towns or smaller villages where there was no assembly, and I've explained them how it works, and I have, so we have coached new communities to have their own pub in their village or in their community and to start working. And it's very easy to do it because this is the mechanic, what you have here. It's horizontal and convocational. It's politically independent. We do not endorse any political party, though we can share some of their views. It's self-financing, and most of all, it has gratuity. Nobody, absolutely no real pub, if they charge 1 cent for the service we provide, it's a fake. We do not charge whatsoever, not 1 single cent to anybody that arrives to our assemblies. We give collective advice. We do not take care of individual cases. Anybody. I mean, the first thing that we tell people when they arrive to the assemblies is that you have not come tonight to this assembly to have any of us sitting here take your file and take it to the courthouse and resolve the problem. You are going to learn to resolve your problem. You are going to learn the same way everybody in this assembly has learned how to solve the problem, how to face the banks, and how to talk to the lawyers, and how to oppose resistance to the process of foreclosure.
And then you are going to teach it.
Oh yeah, and then you have to share what you learn. And then you have to be solidarious the same way we're being solidarious with you, and you have to stay here and work elbow with your fellow citizens. So you get all this for free and for solidarity, and you have to give it back. And that's how it works. It's process-oriented, it's non-directive, and we provide accompaniment. We advocate non-violence, but yes, civil disobedience. The first thing and the most dramatic and theatrical thing that we do in every pub is to become human shields, to stop the evictions, to block the secretaries from the courthouse from delivering the eviction order, and to block the police from kicking out families. I mean, and that is in every news show every night. But that is just the most visible part of what we do. We do a lot more than that. Every node is autonomous. All the decisions that every assembly assumes or undertakes are coordinated by consensus. We try that every assembly has its own coordinating team that integrates people as they arrive. So often people that get the resolution of their mortgage, well, they keep coming and they keep helping for 2 or 3 months or a year or 2 years. But then as people continue to come, they join the coordinating teams, because we need lots of things to coordinate. We need to coordinate media, we need to make press conferences, we need to coordinate the spokespersons with banks, because we group people by the bank who's holding their mortgage, because we try to negotiate in groups with each one of the banks, like packages of resolutions to set all those families free. And so there are hundreds of things that needs to be coordinated, and we are always incorporating all the newcomers as soon as they learn and they feel empowered and they feel recovered, because everybody in the assemblies of PAH arrives with a severe depression and they feel desolated and they feel excluded from society, and they feel terribly ashamed for not being able to provide to their families. And the first thing we tell to those fellows is, it's not your fault. It's not your fault for one very simple reason. You signed the mortgage and you committed yourself to pay for 20, 30, or 40 years. But did ever your patron committed to you to keep you employed for 20, 30, or 40 years? No. So whose fault is that? Is it my fault to lose my job? No. So it's not your fault. And the system should provide. And the state should provide, because we all pay taxes for that, for the state to provide. And we have to stand up for that all together and claim it. So, come back. So we all share. We all share. We share our victories. We share our knowledge. We share our anecdotes. And we even share our mistakes. Because from the mistakes we also learn a lot. And we try to sort of correct whatever we do wrong. Of course, we are all human and we can all make mistakes. And we try to fix it and to do it better next time. Then, on the praxis of the PAH. As I mentioned before, in the first 2 years, there were only 2 assemblies, and we saw that we had to point out and tell the banks, this, what you're doing to families is not fair, and shame on you. So we started different strategies of harassing institutions in a way. When we do, and we have several sentences and verdicts from courthouses all over Spain that tells us, and they have told banks and politicians, that what we do is freedom of speech, because we've been very careful not to cross that line between freedom of speech and harassment. So we have never lost not one lawsuit that MPs and senators and bankers, lots of people have sued us for harassment. None of them has won this far. So we have to learn to fight. This is Ada, and she's saying that banks have done hundreds of euros of profits, and that in Spain the debt remains forever. And that's Adrián, that's the other author of the book we're presenting. And we organized these rallies in different cities of Spain with you say bubbles like this, and with stickers. And what that sticker says is, this bank is a scammer and cheats on people and keeps them out of their homes. And we have made literally hundreds of thousands of those stickers, because I don't know how many banks in Spain, when the employees arrive in the morning, the whole bank is covered in stickers. And we communicate with people on the street, and you see, we do this at night. And
that's a funny word.
And that's the sticker. And we put the sticker everywhere. In the ATMs, doors, in windows, and everywhere we can. We just print these stickers like crazy. And we always have like a brick of stickers on every assembly for anybody who wants to get some relief and stick some stickers in their bank office. You know, of all the banks that are today in Spain, only Santander and BBVA are not owned by the state. So it means that all the evictions that we see in Spain from all the other banks is the state itself who's trying to violate society with this phenomenon of the evictions. So this is how it ends. And we just keep doing it. The harmed people or the victims, we learn from each other. We experience a true empowerment process. As I mentioned before, people arrive to the assemblies in a really, really bad shape. So bad that we have to regret several, and I'm sorry to say this, but dozens of suicides. I mean, last week, a guy from La Rioja jumped out of his window when the police and the commission to evict him arrived to his home. And we have seen that many, many times. And for that situation, we have built an alliance with a movement that is called Psychology Sans Frontières, like Médecins Sans Frontières, but these are psychologists. And what they do, they have given us workshops to be like the first barrier or the first level of attention for people that are in extreme psychological conditions. But at least in Valencia, on every assembly, there are always 2 psychologists on duty. So if anybody in the assembly literally falls apart, and we see them falling apart, they pull that person out of the assembly and they try to counsel him or her, and then they give up to 6 months of free visits, of free consulting for that person to try to put him or herself together and move on with their lives. And with this, what I'm trying to tell you is that the PAH is not only just a movement to fight against evictions. We have ended up doing many other things. And that's why on the assemblies and right here for your movement, you have to start calling volunteer lawyers and volunteer psychologists and volunteer journalists and people that they are not meant to work for free for you. They have to teach you how to help yourselves and the people that will come behind you. Because the responsibility here is about helping myself by helping others. And this is why PAH replicates all over Spain so fast. And this is the message, the main message that I want to bring to you tonight. So as I mentioned before, we start individual and collective negotiation with banks. What you saw before is the signaling or scratching of banks, but we also scratch politicians and certain other personalities that are very nasty. This is how bad situations get in Spain, and this
it's a hard video.
It's a hard video, and this is how the police arrives. Before you finish this video, just let me tell you the story of Juan. Juan lost his job. Juan had been paying for his house for nearly 60 years. He was only 18,000 euros out of about 150,000. He was only 18,000 euros of finishing paying his home. He lost his job, he was 3 years unemployed, and the bank refused to negotiate for 18,000 euro and scavenged on Juan's family to take his home away. And this is what happened. Wow. Come on.
su casa. El patio donde ayer jugaban sus hijos de repente se llena de vecinos.
And these are the neighbors, Juan's neighbors, trying to block the
Los
eviction.
vecinos también, y comienza el desalojo.
And this is what
El
police
banco se
does.
resiste a que el banco se lleve a sus vecinos y el 15F se retuerce con otra deuda que dejará otra casa vacía. Primero las cadenas, luego la puerta y la mujer de Juan a tan solo 2 metros de la casa que se aleja. Primero las rejas que Juan agarraba y luego una vez dentro la puerta. Es el final de un desalojo sin golpes ni amenazas que han oído en el coronil. Como un mazazo cuando el propietario ha salido de su casa.
And that's how Juan was dragged out of his house.
euros de deuda volverá a vivir con su madre a tan solo 500 metros de la que era su casa.
And we didn't see any blood or broken bones in this one, but there have been many. So we continue growing. Between 2010 and 2011, we established 35 assemblies on the biggest cities of Spain, mostly triggered by the 15N movement, by the campaign of Indignados in Madrid. Then in Catalonia, they started the first occupation of empty buildings. We are promoting, actually, the occupation or the squatting of buildings that are owned by banks, and banks that have been rescued with public money, that we with our taxes have paid for that, and in exchange we are having worse healthcare and worse education, worse unemployment benefits, and worse everything. But the bankers are still living la dolce vita, and this is what we have to point out, and that we have to tell our fellow citizens. And we have also created this movement that are the eviction-free cities. It means that we write these motions that we ask councillors of the municipalities to bring to the Muni plenary, to the Muni assembly, and to declare that municipality will no longer use the local police. They can use the national police to do so, but that the municipality will not use the taxes or the money of the taxpayers to provide police or fire department to generate any evictions, and that also if the banks that are reluctant to negotiate with the affected families and are sending to the street the neighbors of those municipalities, the inhabitants of those cities, that the municipality will cancel the bank accounts in those institutions. That will take the money. You can imagine the amounts of money that a municipality manages for collecting taxes and for paying for services. So they cancel those accounts and they take it to other institutions that are at least more willing to negotiate some solutions for the families. And this is the Campaña de Obra Social. And one thing that why is it that a guy and a girl from Valencia are talking with you tonight? Because this is the picture of the evictions in Spain in 2013. So you see that obviously Madrid, because it's the main capital, is quite a juicy city to speculate. But if you see the rest, Catalonia and Valencia and Andalusia, why? Because the beach and the sun are very appealing. So lots of speculation happened all across the Mediterranean coast, and that's why we had so many crazy mortgages happening in Catalonia and in Valencia and in Andalusia. And if you see, despite Madrid is 6 times bigger than Valencia. We have more evictions in Valencia than in Madrid. And despite Madrid is almost twice as big as Barcelona, Barcelona has like 20% or so more evictions. And it's because the speculation and the corruption in the coastal areas has been a lot bigger for obvious reasons. I mean, we have all the Russians and the Germans and the British trying to have flats in the beach, and that drives people crazy. So, see, we have in 2012, well, this is a little bit outdated, we had 49,000 evictions. It was 16% increase, now it's 18% increase, and it's, well, about 200 evictions a day, and out of those are about 110 or 120 are of their families' one and only home. So those are families that are becoming homeless. Then finally, the explosion of the PAH. We recognize that the seed of evil of all of this speculation was that the Spanish regulation does not make banks to consider for the asset accept the same value that they give for credit. And this is completely nonsense. I don't know if I have made myself understood, but in Spain, a bank can appraise a flat in 200,000 euros and give you 200,000 euros, but if that flat ever has to be foreclosed and auctioned, the bank can unilaterally say that the auction value of that flat that 5 or 6 years ago they said it was 200,000, now it's 120,000. And nobody can tell the bank anything. The law allows them to speculate with the value inside their offices, and there's nobody to protect it from that. So, if we force the bank to always respect the same value, the appraisal, the credit, and the foreclosure value, then families will never have outstanding debt after the foreclosure. And what happens in Spain is that usually we have 30, 40, 50% of the original credit as outstanding debt after the auction. And that is impossible. I mean, families are in debt forever and are condemned to be miserable forever. Because the other thing in Spain is that debts can be inherited. And if when parents die, if the children don't know this and take the inheritance, they take the assets, but they take the goods as well, the debts as well. So it's a big nonsense. And we asked the government with the Iniciativa Legislativa Popular, with the proposal of a new law, to stop all the evictions and to create a social rent. In Spain, less than 2% of the census of homes is social. So we have a true deficit of social housing. And the government is not creating new social homes because right now the Troika does not allow them to do it. By 2012, we were over 100 assemblies. Last month we have our nationwide assembly, and we were like 225 already. So what we did is that we collected signatures, and here after the video that comes afterwards, Jenny is going to tell you her experience at the Senate defending this proposal. When the Spanish law says that in order to bring a proposal of law to the parliament, the organizer or the defendant of that law has to put together 500,000 signatures. And those signatures have to be validated by the National Authority of Elections. They have to contrast each one of those signatures with the election census. So not only we got those 500,000 together, we were way over that with almost 1.5. And considering that the law does not allow foreigners, does not allow second or third state citizens to sign for these petitions, only people with true Spanish citizenship can participate in this process, when about 30% of the people suffering from foreclosures are immigrants.
The day that we present the project of the law, the day that we present the project of the law, the Party Popular, that is now in the government, say that even taking 3 times more signatures than we need, they are not going to talk about the law. And that day, died 3 persons in Spain, and then in the evening they say they are going to talk about the law. We need 3 deaths to talk about it.
3 suicides.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm gonna, well, This is a protest in Catalunya, which has been traditionally violent and reluctant to negotiate mortgages. So one day the assembly, the union or the coordination of assemblies from Catalonia had enough and went to the main office of Caixa Catalunya in Barcelona and literally rammed the office, like you were saying, because they need to learn. And if we have to do crazy things like this, we have to do it, because it's talking to walls often, and sometimes we have to, just bang. And then the really strong conflict. We went face to face to the government, and they announced that they would be rejecting all points of the initiative. We launched this campaign that was Green Spring, because the debate and the parliament was going to take place in spring. So in Spanish parliament, when they vote, all the MPs have a console in their chair with a green button and a red button to vote yes or no to the proposals. So what we launched is the campaign Si se puede, pero no quieren, meaning we can, but they don't want to. So we also printed thousands, hundreds of thousands of stickers with these green and red circles, and we launched also a scratch it campaign, meaning that we scratched almost every one of the 187 MPs of the Popular Party in the Spanish Parliament.
Just to say, the scratch is when the PAH goes to the office or clinic of a politician, or sometimes their home, to specifically identify the people who are voting no to the legislation that they were proposing.
Yeah, so that is, we scratch that person. We follow that person with banners and with whistles to remind that person that. And why did we do this? Because we sent a letter from every single assembly in Spain, sent a letter to the MPs that belong to that province or to that town, inviting them to come to our assemblies and listen to the people. As simple as that. You are an elected charge. Come and listen to the people you're allegedly representing. And they just wouldn't. No, not a single one of them came. So we said, well, if you don't want to come to our assemblies, we are going to bring the assembly to your doorway. Just like that.
Su señor.
Diputado o diputada del Partido Popular.
Se ve atrapado por una hipoteca que no quiere pagar.
Si no se cambia esta ley tan injusta, voy a perder la casa en la que vivo.
Y arrastraré de por vida una deuda que me condena a malvivir fuera del sistema.
No quiero acabar buscando comida en los contenedores. No quiero.
Nuestros impuestos se destinan a rescatar a los bancos.
Yo ayudo a rescatarlos y ellos me echan, no tiene sentido.
No he vivido por encima de mis posibilidades. Me dieron una hipoteca. Es que era posible.
Y es verdad que nadie me puso una pistola en la cabeza para que firmara aquella hipoteca. Es que solo faltaría eso, ¿no?
Alquilar era muy difícil, muy caro y te podían echar.
La ministra salía diciendo que una vivienda jamás baja de precio.
Me dijeron que alquilar era tirar el dinero. Comprar era más seguro, más estable.
Y bla 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 bla.
Quedan solo palabras. Palabras acompañadas de mucha letra pequeña.
Ojalá alguien me hubiera advertido.
No había firmado jamás.
Compré un piso con mucha ilusión y muchísimo esfuerzo.
Hice muchos sacrificios.
Y es que no puedo seguir pagando. No es que no quiera.
Es que no puedo.
Ya mismo pierdo mi casa. Tengo que perder todo lo demás.
Yo hipotequé mi piso, no mi vida.
Somos miles, aunque algunos ya no están.
Bancos y políticos nos han dado la espalda.
Y ellos tienen muchísima responsabilidad en todo esto.
Hemos tenido que organizarnos desde abajo para ayudarnos los unos a los otros, para parar desahucios.
Los desahucios son algo terriblemente violento.
Es lo más cruel que he visto en mi vida.
Estamos luchando por cambiar estas leyes.
Que nos condenan a la miseria.
Con la iniciativa legislativa popular, usted tiene mis propuestas sobre su mesa.
Y las mías.
¿Y mis propuestas?
Las nuestras, las de todos.
Son propuestas de mínimos, para hacer frente a la emergencia del momento.
Se podría hacer mucho más,
Pero hacer menos sería dramático.
Usted no puede votar un sí o un no sin escuchar mi voz.
Ni mi voz.
No ha contestado a nuestra invitación. No viene a nuestras reuniones.
No me deja opción.
Me acercaré a usted porque resulta que usted me representa, pero no me conoce.
Sin intermediarios.
Pacíficamente.
Por mail y por Facebook.
Por Twitter.
Le pido encarecidamente que en lugar de escuchar a los técnicos y expertos de la banca, escuche el clamor de la 90% de población.
Y escúcheme a mí.
Míreme a los ojos.
Cuando usted vote, piense en estas caras. Piense en mí.
Y en mí,
En mi historia.
En mi futuro.
en mi familia.
En mi hija.
Piensa en mi niño.
Apelo a su conciencia.
No soy prescindible.
No soy sacrificable en nombre de los mercados.
No soy una cifra.
Soy una persona.
Hay una ciudadana.
Es muy urgente.
Hay vidas en juego.
Y son nuestras vidas.
There are lives at stake.